Yes, everybody, welcome back to Talking Wolves. Hope you guys are keeping well. We're back for another transfer rumours and update video. Over the last 7 days or so, lots of transfer news once again. It's the business end of the season. Agents are going to start talking. The press is going to start printing. And obviously, transfer rumours are going to start kicking off. So we'll keep you up to date as much as we can. Let's hit that like button. Let's hit 200 likes on today's video and subscribe to the channel. We're creeping closer towards that 17,000 subscriber mark. And a big shout out to our channel partners over at Full Time Prints. Here they sent me this amazing Ruben Neves print from the goal he scored against Derby. Loads of prints, whether you want a team sheet, a goal recreation, some commentary. Make sure you go and check their website out. Sorry, and if you use Talking Wolves at the checkout, you'll get yourself a cheeky 10% off as well. So big shout out to them for that one. So let's jump into the first rumour, and it is about Mr. Pablo Sarabia. Reports over in Turkey suggest that Besiktas are interested in signing the Wolves attacker this summer. Been a weird one with Pablo Sarabia because sort of was a squad player under Gary O'Neill. Approaching Christmas, you could tell he probably wasn't 100% happy with his game time. And with the injuries that Wolves have had over the season with Matheus Cunha, Hwang and Neto, he's had more opportunities. And he's blown hot and cold. You know, he's had some fantastic games for Wolves, scored some great goals. But he's also struggled a little bit at times. So as good as I think technically an unbelievable player, but physically probably past his best. And that's probably, it may be the time this summer to cash in on him, on a player that's reportedly on quite a high wage as well. The reports in Turkey do suggest that Besiktas have spoken to Sarabia's representatives already, and there have been positive early talks. So let's wait and see on that one, and let me know your thoughts on this one in the comments. I'm in sort of two minds about this. I would be fairly open to let Sarabia go if the money's correct. But also I have reservations, and this isn't a weird dig, but like I've said many times on these videos before, for some reason Turkish outlets have an awful track record. Like their agents must talk like crazy. So I don't know about this one. Pablo Sarabia to Besiktas. Maybe it's a go out. I don't know. But we'll wait and see in the summer. Another player that has been spoken about before on this channel is Rodrigo Gomez. Young lad, currently playing for Braga, but he's been on loan at Estoril this season. Wolves were linked to him very strongly in the January transfer window. There were even indications that Wolves could sign him in January. But at the moment, he's stayed on loan at Estoril and continued a great form. His great form. 8 goals, 8 assists, can play as a winger, can play as a wing back. I think the flexibility and versatility in some of the players that we talk about is going to be what sort of Wolves are going to be looking at considerably. Now, it's interesting because reports previously suggested that Wolves had a bid on the table of around 15 million euros and that Braga would want probably a little bit more. But a report from Ojogo this week has suggested that Braga would be happy with anything between 12 and 15 million euros for Rodrigo Gomez. So I'd keep our eye on this one. Wolves are the only real side that are very, very heavily linked with him right now. It wouldn't surprise me to see he's one of the early signings come the summer. So, Rodrigo Gomez from Braga, currently on loan at Estoril over in Portugal. Sticking with the Portuguese theme, Nelson Semedo as well had a very good season. I've even seen some people suggest that they've voted for him for their Player of the Season awards that Wolves are looking at this week. There have been reports this week that clubs in Saudi Arabia are keeping tabs on Nelson Semedo and going to be checking in on him during this summer. Now, this is an interesting one because, well, it was reported that the Saudi Arabian clubs basically have a big pot of money, about £2 billion to spend on players overall in the league this summer, and Nelson Semedo is one of those. Now, Semedo is probably, not in a disrespectful way, but probably just past his peak and coming into the last 12 months of his contract here at Wolves. At the moment, with how well he's played and with what's going on in Saudi Arabia, Wolves could actually command a pretty decent fee for him. I'm not going to say you're going to get every single penny of the money that you paid for him. That's not necessarily how transfers are meant to work either. You know, you paid a certain amount for his contract, and you know we've got the best out of him during that contract, to be fair. But I certainly think Wolves can get at least £20 million for Semedo right now, and Saudi Arabia might be a decent little final payday for him. I still think he's got years left in him, but I think this could be a long one because you would assume he'd get called up for the Euro squad. So unless this move is done very, very quickly, this one could drag way in towards closer to the start of the season. But Gomez, who we spoke about just, I'm fairly certain plays as a right wing back as well. Be interesting to see what the situation is. Dexter Lembekisa and Kiana Hoover. Personally, I don't think they're good enough to be playing consistent Premier League football minutes as of yet. But if Semedo goes, does Doc step up, I would assume Wolves will look at bringing in another right wing back if Semedo does go this summer. But he's coming into the final year of his deal. Wolves have got to make a decision this summer. This summer is probably best time to sell him if they're wanting decent money for him as well. A fresh rumour coming out today from Germany suggests that Wolves have an interest in the Werder Bremen striker Justin Nienmar. 23-year-old forward, really his breakthrough season this year in the Bundesliga. He's got 6 goals, 2 assists so far this season in the league. Everton, Villarreal and a number of other Bundesliga clubs are looking at him. Werder Bremen are desperate to try and nail him down to a new deal, but because of the interest elsewhere, it doesn't look likely. So Wolves looking towards the Bundesliga potentially to sign Justin Nienmar. I hope I've pronounced that correctly. Njinmah, 23-year-old forward. So we'll keep our eye on the situation there. But again, versatility is key with this one. Could play centrally as like a number 9. Could play out wide as well. Probably similar to the likes of Hwang and Cunha. And I think that versatility and flexibility and fluidity in the team shape is very useful for any head coach, whether that be Gary O'Neill or somebody else next season. Reports last week over in South Korea were suggesting that Wolves had been keeping an eye on the Red Star midfielder Hwang In Bom, 27-year-old midfielder, currently playing for Red Star in Serbia. Wolves had scouts at the Serbian Cup semi-final between Red Star and Partizan last week. 27 years old, so not the sort of young up-and-coming midfielder that you'd expect, but Hwang In Bom has got some serious suitors. He's had a very, very good year over in Serbia. Previously, I think he was at Olympiacos as well, where he did quite well. So it'd be interesting, obviously, in terms of the marketability for the player and the commercial idea of having 2 Hwangs in the squad would be unbelievable. But again, I would assume this would cost very little and add another midfielder. Not necessarily an area that Wolves do need to strengthen right now, which I'll talk about again in a second. But nonetheless, interesting rumour that we can keep our eye on. The rumour that was alluding to just then was Lewis Cook. According to Football Insider, Wolves reportedly have an interest in Lewis Cook, 27 years of age as well, only a year or so left on his deal. So again, Bournemouth may look at this summer at cashing in on him. Struggled with injuries over his career, to be honest, but a seriously talented player. I wouldn't say no to him, but once again, it's probably the strongest area that Wolves have in the squad at the moment in terms of player availability, in terms of depth, consistency. So it wouldn't be a priority for me this summer. Obviously, this sparked a bit of a debate between Wolves and Bournemouth fans on the socials, which I'm not going to get into. But the one thing with this one that's frustrating me at the moment is Football Insider. So Football Insider are the source on this one, and they're just so inconsistent. And it's frustrating because as a news aggregator and as a channel that we like to talk about the news and rumours, Football Insider have a very good track record at Football League rumours. So your transfers and your loans of your young lads going to your Football League clubs. In terms of Premier League clubs, for whatever reason, their track record is awful. And they've put out another article today on about how Wolves have got to sell this summer, otherwise they could face a point deduction. It's absolute rubbish. So as a news aggregator, I've got to be careful at which rumours I pick out from Football Insider. So I wouldn't, every time you see Football Insider, I wouldn't write them off, because they generally, some of the stuff does have some insight and does have some weight to it. But in this case, again, I just think it's, personally, year left on his deal, probably agents saying, look, add a bit of interest, so maybe we can spark a new deal down at Bournemouth, but let's wait and see. And finally, we'll finish off an interesting one, something a bit different. Wolves have got currently an under-18s defender, Diamandi. I believe he's from Italian heritage. He hasn't been offered a scholarship at Wolves, so regardless, he was going to be leaving in the summer anyway. And he's actually been on trial at West Bromwich Albion, so our Black Country rivals. He's on trial there. He actually came off the bench as a trialist for them on Monday, I believe, in a 4-2 win against the Leeds, and that was from the Express and Star as well. So you would assume Diamandi going to be switching the old Golden Wolves to the Tesco carrier bags of West Bromwich Albion. Guys, that's all for today's transfer news. I'll be sure to keep you guys up to date as much as I can. Please feel free to follow us on the socials at Talking Wolves everywhere. Match preview for the City game coming out in the next day or so. Enjoy the rest of your week. Enjoy your weekend, guys. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you all very soon.